All right. Well, thank everybody for coming today. And I want to turn this over quickly to Henry, who's going to share with you guys more about health and wellness. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Steve Bruce and the Springfield House. They've opened this space for us to educate and to step more into our greatness and live our greatness. And this session is focused on health and wellness. So I'm going to turn it over to Henry, and he'll share with you more about his background and what he's up to.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise.
Yep.
So welcome to today's webinar in person as well. As Denise said, this is a series of different types of supportive information that we can put into the hands of parents in particularly to support them in really embodying a holistic approach to wellness. The first one that we did was a few weeks ago on emotional and mental wellness. Today, we're going to be focusing on physical wellness. And then there's possibly another one if there's people interested in financial wellness as well. So really approaching the body as a holistic, the family unit holistically as well. We have a couple handouts here that I will share on screen. If you are listening to the recording, and you would like to be mailed some of these copies or emailed some of these copies, then we can certainly get those into your hands too. So the person to contact for that would be Denise, and she'll go ahead and send that over. And Denise, you wanted to give a quick shout out to?
I just want to thank Mr. Steve Bruce. Again, he's opened this space for us to have. It's an amazing facility, the Springfield House. And so he's allowed us to come and meet here and welcome families and just be supportive as part of a person in the community. So thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, beautiful facilities. Great kind of pond view out here with gazebo, and obviously great for banquets and weddings and such. And so I wanted to start today. You can see behind me, there's quite a few props. I come from an education background. As Denise said earlier, my studies started at Ohio State, and I became a classroom teacher, high school. Human anatomy and physiology was my specialty. I taught biologies, chemistries, environmental sciences, earth and space for about 14 years in a little suburb of Columbus called Dublin. I have since then started a part-time business, and I do life coaching. I help with nutritional coaching, and just started applying all of my knowledge from my previous career into empowering families to become the next level of them, or the next version of themselves. And so one of the tools that you're going to receive for attending today is called our Start Strong Kids packet. And I took a part here so you can see what it looks like. I'll actually go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see exactly what this looks like. And let's see here. So go to, all right. So give me a quick thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome, thank you, Laura and Lauren. I hope you guys can hear us as well. So this is the packet that I'm holding in front of me. And again, you can contact Denise for hard copies or an email copy. One of the things that we do, and we really pride ourselves in, is empowering parents to start their kids off at a young age into teaching them about healthy lifestyle. And the reason why we call it healthy lifestyle and not just healthy eating is because lifestyle encompasses several pillars, and nutrition is definitely one of the most important, but exercise, getting sunlight, there's a number of things that we emphasize. So this guide here shows you a set of challenges that you can use as a parent to empower your student to follow your lead. You'll see a lunchbox planning guide. There's different ideas for healthy snacks, not just for the summer, but throughout the entire year. A challenge that is in the form of like a bingo page, and it's customizable to different age groups. So again, you can scan through this at your leisure. The first thing that I want to show you is It's so important to model this for your child. And we include in this guide a Start Strong lunchbox planning guide for different ideas that are very simple. They're not very time consuming. And you can put that into your kids' lunchbox or prepare that for the day. And so you can see there's a number of fruits, a number of easy prep vegetables. And this also serves as a grocery list if you want as well. So you can use this electronic copy and print off several copies of it. So when you go grocery shopping this week, then you can make sure that you have some variety. We've also included a couple blank sections at the bottom in which you can add in, try a healthy fruit or a different vegetable that you haven't tasted before. Different types of starches that are healthy for you, that are anti-inflammatory. You see the GF is gluten-free. Different odds and ends if you want to pack that in your lunchbox as well, and healthy sources of protein that are plant-based proteins. We do also, promote other types of protein other than plants, but this in particular, this guide here is for anyone who wants to focus primarily on plants. The next page shows you all sorts of different simple ideas for snacks. One of the things that we teach with the company that we mainly partner with, called Juice Plus, is that changing the microbiome, the bacteria composition of your gut is where it all starts. And so if you can get raw vegetables, raw fruits into the gut of anyone, then it will dictate the cravings that individual has. We call the gut the second brain because all the bacteria in the gut, you can basically divide into two categories: your healthy bacteria and unhealthy bacteria. The healthy bacteria eats raw fruits and vegetables. The unhealthy bacteria eats all the other stuff: your junk food, your refined foods, your sugars. I often tell my story in terms of, I grew up on 3 food groups. The 3 food groups I grew up on were processed foods, junk food, and fast food. And that's what the unhealthy bacteria eats. So if you're taking, let's see, you get a little engagement here. How many of you have heard of the potato chip company whose slogan is, once you pop, you cannot stop? Once you pop, you can't stop. Does anyone know that one?
I'm trying to think who it is. Like so, no.
Not to knock any particular brands, because I'm guilty of this too. Pringles.
Oh, this is
Pringles is, once you pop that can of potato chips, you can't stop. And there's actually some truth to that, because when you eat that potato chip, when you eat that donut, then all of that glaze, all that sugar feeds the unhealthy bacteria, causing it to excrete different types of enzymes and chemicals that flow through the blood into your brain and say, feed me more donuts, feed me more chips. You cannot stop once you pop. And so the key is to either switch to your healthy foods, right, or reduce the unhealthy foods, so you can repopulate the bacteria with the healthy bacteria, or repopulate the gut with healthy bacteria. So raw fruits and vegetables, you can cut them up, hummus and guacamole, instead of using all those different types of sugary ketchups and the different ranch dressings that have preservatives and different dyes. That if you take a second to record how your child responds to, like, behaviorally to some of those dyes, like Doritos and stuff, then you'll start noticing a pattern of lack of focus, maybe like unusual energy that is like kind of like untamed. And you can particularly see this when the child is younger and they have not been exposed to processed sugars and dyes and stuff. So again, other very simple, healthy alternatives to eating snacks throughout the day. Then you'll see 3 pages of challenges. And so this first one here is designed specifically for 3 to 6-year-olds. And you can see some of the bingo challenges here that you can do as a family unit with your children. The first one here, sit quietly for 1 minute and take 10 deep breaths. Breathing is so important, and I'll get into some of the science behind that as well, for those of you who are curious. Exercise break, right? Do 10 arm circles and 10 jumping jacks and 10 high knees together as a family. And they can, once they do that, then you can initial here, or you can take some stickers, from the dollar store and put them on here. And once they complete either a row diagonally or the whole sheet, you decide as a parent what the rules are. Then there are some certificates. I'll scroll down here to the bottom that you can award your child. And they're already cookie cutter. In fact, those of you who want to come and grab these in person, I already have these certificates printed out for your child. So like I said, there are 3 sheets. So this first one here was designed for 3 to 6-year-old challenges. And then the next one here is customized to 7 through 11-year-olds. So a little bit more complexity, like helping with grocery shopping. Pick out 1 new vegetable and 1 new fruit to try. So some of these things are directly related to nutrition. And again, others are just healthy habits that you want to form with your child. And then the third is create your own challenge. And so you can steal some of those ideas, modify them from the previous 2 sheets, or include your own in there as well. And then you can go ahead and write down what the challenge is, throw in a place for the sticker, and etc. So again, this is called the Start Strong Kids packet, and where to locate that. So again, you can always email Denise, or if you want to go ahead and take a screenshot of this page here, you're more than welcome to, or write this down. This is just for attending today. You'll have access to all of these resources online called the Healthy Living Revolution. So if you go to healthylivingrevolution.com, all one word, then you'll see not only do you have at the very bottom access to all of the kids Start Strong Challenge materials that I just showed you, but a kids YouTube channel that is created by kids for kids that include videos that have different exercises, whether they're breathing exercises, different types of yoga and Pilates, different types of high intensity, and you can even make one with a family, with your family, and submit it to be on the website. So pretty cool. There's also something called the Family Healthy Starts, or Family Healthy Study, which I will introduce to you as well. It's filled with different tools to empower your kid to focus on nutrition, along with the student resources. You'll also find some adult resources. In particularly, I like the ones here that are called the webinars. If you click on the webinars, then it'll take you to different health professionals. So you can see a hormone focused family physician, a cardiologist. I actually recorded this one here and the one on the right of complete health dentistry, knowing that the mouth is a window to the rest of the body, and your immune system starts in your mouth and your gut. Your hormone cycles start in your mouth and your gut, your mood, all that stuff, all the way to brain fog and obesity. And so that's a great one to start if you're looking to a place to start. These are, again, all given by health professionals, and you can see some of them are about preventing colds and flu, to improving your eyesight, to combating cancer. And the common thread in each of these videos is focused on healthy lifestyle, because 80% of chronic disease can either be prevented or reduced using your healthy lifestyle. 20% is genetics. You have no control over that. And 80% is your lifestyle. Of the 80% lifestyle, most of that is rooted in your nutrition. And so that's why these trending health videos are some of my favorite. Along with that, there are some healthy cookbooks. And so I've actually printed off some of these here for you today. And I'll just show you some of the versions that I printed off for you today. I absolutely love the Four Seasons one. So this is the volumes 1 through 4. You can download the PDF of it and print it out. It goes through seasonally. These are the foods that fruits and vegetables that are available, that are vine ripened throughout each of the seasons of the year, if you live in a temperate zone. And it gives you a guide throughout that, that shows you, like, these are a couple different types of breakfasts and entrees and desserts that are included in this guide. And it gives you a picture along with the ingredients and obviously the serving size and the instruction for each of the recipes. Most of these are going to be vegan, and not to say that you have to be vegan. I'll be the first to admit that when I first heard the word vegan, I thought it was a cult. Can anyone relate to that? And I quickly learned that this is just a vegan. Being vegan does not mean that you're isolating yourself from the rest of the world. It simply means that you're trying to make better food choices, and trying to cut out the foods that cause inflammation, the foods that are not really sustainable on the planet. And there's many reasons why people go vegetarian or vegan. And so these are some great recipes that you can use to jumpstart your health. I'm going to show you a couple of these other ones here. If anyone likes desserts, then there's one for desserts for kids that are very simple. There's one for air fryers. I personally just got an air fryer from my roommate. And so I do a lot of healthy cooking in my air fryer. There's one for crock pots as well, for healthy mocktails, non-alcoholic. And I particularly like these last two. This one here is our Tower Garden cookbook. And for those of you who teach over at Denise's school, you'll see that Angie has a bunch of, sorry, Mrs. Williams, right?
Yeah.
Mrs. Williams,
Okay.
for those of you kids that are watching. She has 3 of these tower gardens growing outside of her classroom. And you can grow all of your foods fresh at the end of your dining room table. Pass around the bowl, and you don't even have to wash the produce because you know exactly what has been going on it. No pesticides or herbicides, it's only what you put on it. You can grow anything under the sun that grows above ground. Kale, lettuce, cabbage, tomatoes, pumpkins, cucumbers, all your herbs and strawberries, thyme, rosemary. And it grows 3 times as fast as it would in the soil because it's constantly being trickled with water. The roots are actually hanging in the air. It's often mistaken as hydroponics, when in actuality it is called aeroponics. And so you fill in the basin with water and a couple nutrients, and there's a low wattage submersible pump that pumps the water to the top and then trickles down on top of those roots. Any water that misses the roots and the nutrients, it gets recollected down the basin, and then every 8 minutes, it re-waters those plants. And so there's no limiting factors. There's no limiting factor in terms of water or carbon dioxide and light. And those are the 3 things that plants need to grow. So that's why you're able to grow your plants 3 times as fast, super dense nutrition, much healthier than even farmers markets, in the comfort of your own living room. This Tower Garden cookbook goes through a ton of different things that you can grow, things that you can do with the produce that you harvest from your beautiful Tower Garden. So that's one of the other cookbooks. And then the last one here is our complete creations. A lot of times we're on the go. I don't know about you, but especially in today's world, it is busy, 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 busy. I like to call it abundant, right? How's your day? You look really busy. Oh, I have an abundant day. Didn't have time to cook all of my eggs and cut up all my fresh fruit and eat a healthy breakfast to start my day. So instead, there's something called complete. Complete, and Denise, can you grab me those little packets over there? So if you're here today, then you can actually taste some of it. And I do have some samples that if you want to contact Denise, we can get these in your hands. But what we've done is we've taken, a ton of fruits and vegetables, ground them up, dehydrated them at low temperatures. And so that's all that's left is the powdered form that you can put into a smoothie. You can put into a snack. You can throw into little energy bites. And you can carry it around with you in your bag or your car. This is 17 different plants, and it provides a meal replacement. And it's so much healthier and cheaper than a Starbucks coffee. So if you're in the morning, you're trying to get on the go, but you understand that flooding your blood with the proper nutrition so you can get rid of the brain fog, so you can focus on work, focus on taking care of your kids for the day, then it's a great alternative. And Complete Creations, this includes 50 recipes for healthy snacks, 50 recipes for energy bites, and another 100 recipes for different types of smoothies that you can use this. And instead of just getting oatmeal, right, in your diet, then you have oatmeal and 17 plants that include pomegranate, pumpkin, apple, quinoa, amaranth, all the fiber, tons of fiber, lots of different healthy sources of pure protein that you can throw in there. I'm going to show you a video here in a little bit that explains some of those plants and the benefit of those plants. But I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share so I can show you some of the other handouts that we have for you as well. This is one of my favorites because, and it's a little small to read, but again, I will send you a PDF. But what I love about this is you can put this on your fridge, and it shows you not only the names of vegetables and fruits and what they contain. For instance, I'll read you off some of these here. So this one here on, let's choose your carrots. I'm gonna share my screen with you again so you can see. Let's see here, right? All right. So this is what I'm holding in front of me right now. If you were to look at carrots, for instance, okay? So why eat carrots, right? I used to be guilty of this. I don't know how many of you can relate. I used to eat food based on taste. If it tastes great, I'm eating it. If it doesn't taste great, I'm not eating it. It was that simple. As I started aging, as I started getting into sports, as I started realizing that that the food that I ate dictated how well I could focus, how much energy I had, my quality of sleep, my quality of exercise. Then I started shifting my mentality. My relationship with food transitioned from eating based on taste to eating food for its function. And yeah, you can still eat it for taste, but I eat carrots because I know that they have a healthy source of beta carotene, that they have vitamin A and vitamin E. They have a vitamin B called niacin and a vitamin B12 for energy. They also have a protective phytochemicals like potassium and fiber and all sorts of other types of minerals. But really, what's the purpose of beta carotene, right? What's the purpose of vitamin A and vitamin E? It's great to know that they contain those nutrients, those phytonutrients, as we call them, but I don't really care what it has in it. What I do care about is what it does for me. And so that is what we call the form, and the right column shows you the function. What do all those nutrients do? What purpose do they serve? It lowers cholesterol. It cleanses your blood. It opens up your capillaries. It's a vasodilator. It fights infection. It helps with your immune system so you can combat cancer. You can slow down, in some cases, reverse the aging process. So eat your carrots so you can prevent your heart attacks and strokes. Eat your carrots for your eye health, right? To prevent your or delay the onset of macular degeneration, or so you don't have to spend a ton of money on those bifocals, right? Eat the carrots, eat the parsley, eat the tomatoes. And it's not just about eating a lot of one thing, right? And so again, each of these show you a ton of variety of fruits, vegetables, different types of berries, super rich in antioxidants. And don't forget about the oils. Oils are super important for brain function, for cardiovascular health, for lung function and absorption of your oxygen through the walls of those tiny little air sacs in your lungs. And so again, we get those omegas from plant sources. So I'm going to show you a couple different resources that you can use to get those oils, and we'll come back to this. There's some information, some contact information if you want to get in touch with me in particularly. Of course, you can always contact me through Denise as well. So I'm going to stop my screen share so I can show you some of the props that I have behind me here. As you can see, I have my fruit bowl, which we'll get to in a second. Some of you might be able to relate to this. This is my cereal, my sugary cereal that I grew up on every single morning, growing up K through 12. And then when I got into high school, I wanted to be big and buff. And so my brother and I started investing into a ton of whey protein. I don't know how many of these we have that are probably expired in my garage and in our pantry. And of course, you know, your immune system vitamin C boosters, your fish oils, and different types of prescription drugs that I used to be on. So let's go ahead and start with the most common, right? And so this here, your cereal, your Pop-Tarts, your Krispy Kreme donuts, right? And not to knock Krispy Kreme, I love Krispy Kreme. If you're listening to this and you like Krispy Kreme, or you're the owner of a Krispy Kreme, I'm not saying that it's a bad company, right? What I am saying is you need balance. So when you are eating these sugary cereals, right, it's very often easy to be duped, be tricked. Because if you look at the ingredient label, right? And so I'm looking at here, this nice and pretty chart says that I'm getting a ton of vitamin, let's see, vitamin B's. Thiamine is a vitamin, riboflavin is vitamin B, niacin is vitamin B. Look, it's 35%, 25%, 30%. I look at my zinc, 40%, right? Vitamin B12, 40%, folate, 90%. Now, the thing to look out for though, and what I want to empower you today is ingredient label reading. When you look at this nice, pretty chart, it looks like there's a lot of great numbers on here, but all of these are actually pharmaceutical grade powders that they made in a lab, crushed it up, and then put it into the cereal and call it food. Okay, so these are not actually vitamins and minerals from food. They're from a lab. They're man-made mimicries of what actually exists in nature. And how do I know that? Okay, let's, instead of going through that nice and pretty chart, what we get to do is to retrain our minds to look at the ingredient list. So on the ingredient list, you can see it starts with whole grain wheat. Whatever is listed first on that ingredient label is what is mostly in this particular product. Then you can see the second most prevalent ingredient in here is sugar, right? How much sugar? You can go to the top here, and it says that there are total carbohydrates per serving 49 grams. How many added sugars? There's 11 added grams of sugar, which is 23% of your recommended daily allowance, your RDA. So lots of sugar. Sugar is the second most prevalent. Gelatin, right? Gelatin comes from bones. It's basically ground up bone. And it usually is used as a kind of like a, what's the word? A coagulate, something to create texture. Natural, right? Here's another key word to focus in on. Whenever it says natural, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that it comes from fruits and vegetables. The word natural is not regulated, especially here in the US. In some other countries like Canada, then you have to show some sort of evidence to show in order to use that word natural. Natural and artificial flavors, right? Red 40, that's a dye. Blue 1, that's a dye. And then you can see all these other different types of added riboflavin, right? Thiamine, all these other vitamins and minerals are added to this, okay? So that's a little quick. We can go more into that if you'd like to contact us, but that's a little lesson on ingredient label reading. So I'm eating that as my start for the day, for my breakfast, right? Which means I'm eating a bunch of chemicals that have been sprinkled over wheat. But if I were to take something like this and sprinkle that over, mix it into my cereal, right? Put it into my oatmeal, then I'm not just getting a bunch of chemicals and a bunch of wheat. I'm eating real amaranth, real quinoa, pumpkin, pomegranate, apple, etc. Okay. Same thing goes for this, right? So I'm like, okay, look, I know that I'm not getting the nutrients I should be getting from eating my cereal. So I'm going to supplement it using whey, right? Here's the problem with whey. So if you're look at the ingredient label, right? Ingredients, this is hydrolyzed whey proteins isolates. So basically what this means is I'm taking the protein from milk, I'm isolating all the protein from that, throwing it in here, and then I'm adding all of these sugars, right? So the sugars that I'm adding to this, I'm adding your cellulose gum, I'm adding your maltodextrin, I'm adding your cellulose in here. So there's, within this, I'm adding a ton of, yes, protein, concentrated protein from animals, which is an inflammatory, and I'm adding a bunch of sugars. That's what this is. And then we see, but we're attracted to it because we see all these pictures of these like lean, toned men and women on their commercials, and everyone wants to look good and feel good, right? So we buy these huge containers of isolated sugars and protein. All right, so if my diet consists of those, then I know that, again, I'm not getting what I need from my fruits and vegetables. So I resort to vitamins, right? Drugs. I'm going to read you off some of these here. So let's start with this one here. All right, this is my typical aspirin. I brought some Aleve and some Advil and stuff. I'm going to read you off the warning labels on here, okay? It says, children and teenagers who have been recovering from chickenpox or flu-like symptoms should not use this product. Aspirin may contain a severe allergic reaction. Consult your family physician before taking. If you are pregnant, if you have any previous cardiovascular disease, if you are allergic to aspirin or other pain relievers, if you are breastfeeding, ask a health professional before use. It is especially important not to use aspirin during the last 3 months of pregnancy unless specifically directed by your doctor. Keep out of reach of children. These are tons of red flags that you can find on these. And this, many times, those same red flags are on your multivitamins as well, right? If you overdose, if you take more than the recommended daily allowance or recommended daily dose, then call poison control. They give you the number for that on a multivitamin, right? So I tell people all the time, you can overdose on vitamin A, but it's impossible to overdose on vitamin A. What's the difference? Okay, so your vitamin A in your multivitamin versus your vitamin A in your apple. This is called beta carotene. Beta carotene is in the form that God created. This is in the form that your body actually recognizes. And so when you eat vitamin A from an apple or a carrot, right, or from kale, then it's impossible to overdose because your cells recognize it, they know how to use it, they absorb it, and they use it for their function. However, if you're using vitamin A from a pharmaceutical grade, it's isolated. It is not the same chemical structure as the beta carotene, but it's close enough so that's why they can call it vitamin A. I can overdose on that vitamin A, right? Because my cells don't recognize it. My cells don't absorb it. So most of it goes right through your system and you end up with expensive poop. If it is absorbed into your bloodstream through the walls of your small intestines, then it's filtered out through your kidneys and pumped out through your urine. So you now have expensive poop and you've bought expensive urine, right? And so that's what your multivitamins. Yes, you can absorb some of it, but most of it, the majority of it, is actually filtered out through your system. All of this is absorbed through the walls of your small intestines. It is recognized and used by your cells, right? So I brought this fruit bowl, the fruit bowl, to show you. For instance, I have a friend who told me, hey, I eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. So I'm not really sure what I have to learn from this. I asked him, what do you mean by that? He says, I eat 2 apples every single day. Now think about that, okay? That's quantity, and that's great. He eats 2 apples every single day. But are you getting the variety? Are you getting the quality beyond the quantity? So it's not just about the quantity of fruits and vegetables. It's about the quality and the variety as well. The reason why I brought these is because I used to be creature of habit, all of us, right? I used to be addicted to apples, oranges, and bananas. Those are typically what we bought because we were familiar with those. It's typically what was on sale. It's typically what is available year round, right? When do you buy peaches? Well, I only buy peaches if they're on sale, right? If they're in season. Otherwise, like, I'm not gonna buy them because these actually come from the other side of the country. And a lot of these actually come from other countries, right? Here in Ohio, I don't know where you guys are, but if you're a teacher here at Denise's school, or you're from where I'm from in the suburbs of Columbus, 70% of our food, of our produce, 70% of our produce comes from other countries. Okay, that seems like a lot, but trust me, if you go into a typical grocery store, take a look at the labels. It'll say this avocado is from Mexico. This pomegranate is from Guatemala, from Venezuela, from Colombia, from overseas, from Thailand, right? And so how many thousands of miles has this peach or has these grapes or have these lemons, right, traveled? And over that time period, all the nutrients, from the moment that it's picked, within about 20 minutes, the nutrients start depleting from it. So by the time it gets picked, it gets transported to the distribution center. It is redistributed to your grocery store, put on the shelf for you to buy. It's put on your shelf. So eventually you might eat it or throw it away because it's rotted by then. How much nutrients is actually still in that fruit, right? So if you were to take a pepper, for instance, a pepper or a tomato oftentimes only contains 40% of what it's supposed to contain by the time it reaches your table. 40%. Now, it didn't even start off with that much because it was picked before it was vine ripened. Most of the nutrient loading happens in the last few days or hours of that fruit being ripened. And get this, I don't know how many of you eat the orange peel, but 80% of the vitamin C in an orange is actually contained in the peel. And I don't know about you, but I don't eat the peel. So not only are we getting this fruit to our table when it's 40% of the nutrients that's supposed to be in the fruit, I'm taking 80% of the nutrients and tossing it. So what am I left with? I have a bunch of water and a bunch of sugar. So there's a couple problems with that, right? What if we were to be able to take this orange when it is at the peak freshness and ripeness, wait till it completely nutrient loads, pick it off the tree, and within 20 minutes, I'm gonna flash freeze it so it stops the decay and it locks in the freshness. Within 20 minutes, then I'm gonna grind it up. And so it's now a pulp at low temperatures, because mind you, if I heat it up, then it's going to change the integrity of all the nutrients in it. So at low temperatures, it's now a slurry. It's juicing, if you will. You can see my Vitamix in the back. So I'm going to take this entire orange. I'm going to throw it into that Vitamix, right? Once I put it in Vitamix, I grind it up, right? I take that slurry and I'm going to put it onto a conveyor belt. Once it's on a conveyor belt, then after tumbling and tossing, it'll eventually crystallize the sugar, which I can skim off the top. So it's great for diabetics. And that the water will dehydrate as well. What is left in my powder? What's left in my powder now is the entire orange, all the vitamin C, because it contains the peel as well. It contains all of the phytonutrients, not just the 20 vitamins and minerals that were pharmaceutical and concentrated in this, but it contains the 10,000 nutrients that the orange actually is supposed to deliver into my cells. So what does that look like, right? What that looks like is this. If I were to take this orange, get rid of all the water, get rid of all the sugar, then this is what my orange looks like. It's literally orange powder, peel and all. It is literally lemon powder, peel and all. It is grapes, it's pineapples, it's mangoes. It is fruit, and there's another one that has vegetables. I showed you that list of 11 fruits, 11 vegetables, 11 berries, right? And so berries, and again, omegas, don't forget about those omegas. They're all ground up without the sugar, without the water. And you might be asking, okay, so how do I fit all of this 4.6 pounds of fresh vine ripened fruits and vegetables into a tiny little capsule? Think about it. How much water is in the human body? Percentage wise, it's about 70%. Sometimes upwards of 75%, maybe a little less if you're dehydrated. Okay, so if your body is 70% water and you were to get rid of the water, you could actually take a human and fit that human in a vase. We do it all the time. It's called cremation, right? So if I can take my entire body and fit it into a tiny jar by getting rid of the water, this is sometimes on the upwards of 80 to 90% water. So how much space can I fit this apple into if I were to get rid of all the water and the second most prevalent ingredient, sugar? And I'm left with all of the concentrated nutrients. So we call this nutrient density, right? It's all about nutrient density with the quantity, quality, and variety that your body was actually designed to thrive on. So I got a couple other materials to show you what I'm talking about. If you're interested in learning about some of those products, that's all been researched by some of these universities. I don't know if you can see some of those. Yale University, some of you may have heard of Brigham Young or MD Anderson Cancer Hospital. St. Jude benefits from this as well. And then all the research is third party. It is peer reviewed, gold standard, double blind, placebo tested at all the major universities that are listed in there. There are over 46, I think 47 universities that test it before it goes out into consumers' hands. And so just wanted to show you what some of those look like. One of the things that I swear by, so I just ran a 1900 stair climb yesterday with to support the American Lung Association. That was yesterday. Next week, I'm doing another one for donors, for organ donors. I think the following week, I'm doing one for to support all cancer survivors. And then I'm writing Pelotonia at the beginning of August. And you might be wondering, how do you have the energy to do all that, right? And so this is one of the things that I fuel my body with. This is called Perform. Perform contains a ton of healthy sources of protein, but one of the best things that I love about it is that I can hit my workouts hard and I can recover so I can practice the next day. I can get back out there on the bike. I can get back out there on the weights. I can get back there on the volleyball court or the ski slopes without missing a day. And so whether you're an athlete or just an everyday person that wants to get healthier with your exercise as well, that supports not just your nutrition, but your exercise. So you can use, yes, you can use it as a pre-workout. You can use it as a post-workout. What I like to do, and I talked to my cardiologist with this as well, because he has all of our patients on our capsules and our powders. He suggests loading your blood with this an hour before you go to sleep. And at first I was kind of perplexed because I'm like, well, if I eat it while I'm, before I go to sleep, then isn't it going to keep me up? Isn't that going to cause indigestion? And so this is his rationale, right? So when you eat, then your body has to digest it, right? So I have a little prop here. This is my little Pictionary dude. I'm going to grab my markers. All right. So when I eat my kale, for instance, right? So this is my kale. And I'm going to eat my oranges. Okay, and my pineapple. Okay. Then my body has to digest it. Digest means to cut it up. So yes, your body is going to excrete hydrochloric acid. It's going to excrete all sorts of different chemicals that have to cut it up. That's going to keep you up, right? And when you're sleeping, you don't want that. But what if there's a way to take that kale and digest it before you put it in your body? Take the pineapple, mangoes, oranges, digest it before you put it in your body. So it's already ground up, it's already cut up. Then as soon as it hits the walls of your small intestines, then it can immediately be absorbed into the blood. So your digestive system isn't working. It is just simply absorbing. So an hour before you go to sleep, you can put it next to your toothbrush. And when you're repairing at night, right? That's why he asks us my cardiologist says to flood your blood at night with all this nutrients. Your DNA will replicate. Your cells will duplicate, will split, divide. All of your tissues are going to be repairing in the presence of your peaches, your pineapples, your mangoes, your elderberries and bilberries, etc. And so we get that question all the time. When is it appropriate to eat all of these fruit and veggie powders? The truth is, when it comes down to it, there's not a wrong time to do it. When are some of the best times? You want to try to spread it out so you constantly are saturating your blood with all that nutrients. And make sure that you save at least some of it for an hour before you go to bed. So those are some of the information that we had for you today. The last thing I want to share with you, and Denise, if you could grab the gummies over there. Again, one of the tools that we use to empower parents to enable their kids to have a healthy start with their gut bacteria. Some kids, they don't want to take the capsules, right? They don't want to open them up and put them into applesauce or yogurt. Kids can get this for free. So there's a fruit, there's a veggie, and a berry. These gummies are delicious. And so I'll show you the size of them, just for context, and they contain the same nutrients. This is a gummy as the capsules do, and they are super delicious. You can, use them as a dessert. You can have them, eat them in the morning or at night before they brush their teeth. And again, all natural ingredients, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Super healthy, NSF certified, that's better than organic. And no dyes, no preservatives, no additives, no colors or anything. And if your kid is 4 years old, all the way through college, then they can get this for free for 4 years. So you can contact Denise, you can contact myself to gather information about our Healthy Starts for Families program, where you can get, again, those gummies or capsules for free for your kids. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Denise to wrap us up here. Thanks for joining.
Well, thank you, Henry. And I had a question. We definitely talked about health and wellness, and I wanted to make sure I know different people logged in for different reasons today. So we'll give some Q&A at the end. But I know that one parent here specifically that had shared with me that couldn't make it had a question that her child has been on different medication and for attention and issues and concerns. And so just to recap, if you could give a sentence or two in how they can actually shift if they're curious around health and wellness, what could Juice Plus do to support their child within their healthy way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So because it's not a drug, right? Because it's not medicine, then it doesn't necessarily combat a single symptom. However, the benefit of it is because it is concentrated, nutrient-dense food, then it supports every single body system that anyone has, right? So your focus, your brain health. It's great for ADHD. That all the research actually proves that after eating it for, I think it was 16 weeks, I'll have to double check that you have access to all the research, they put it all out there, then your working memory is longer, your processing speeds are faster, and your attention span is expanded. Those are the three conclusions that were done by two universities, one in university in Spain, and I forget where the other one was, that tested the capsules on brain function. Immune system as well. When you clear up your immune system, you clear up your gut bacteria, that helps you with focus as well. And really hormone cycles, it's all related. And that's why we promote fruits and vegetables rather than your medicine, which really is a fire extinguisher. It gets rid of the immediate pain, but does it really get to the root cause of why that student and why that adult, why that individual has that ailment? So that's what this does.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I guess is it time to open it up for any other questions?
Yeah, sure. I tell you what, do you want to stop the recording for questions, or do you want to record the questions?
I will let you decide on that.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Again, any questions that you have, you can go ahead and feel free to reach out. And thanks for joining us.